Hello, wonderful students. Welcome to 5th grade. I am your fantastic 5th grade ELA and social studies teacher, Miss Gaither. You're welcome. So, I wanted to do a video to talk about some of my procedures as well as some of my expectations in this classroom. So, the first thing I want to talk about is entering the classroom. In the mornings, if you're in my homeroom, you are going to see me posted outside the front door, and I will be ready to greet you. Some things you're going to notice outside the room, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about, is you're going to see a little sign that's going to have what you're going to need to bring with you, as well as a little daily information. I like to post a little fun fact that you may or may not know. So this board right here, you're going to see what you need to bring with you to class. Oh, I'm sorry, just kidding, that one. So please make sure you bring those materials to class with you every day. You also need to check Miss Scales' room and make sure that you bring the materials that you're going to need for her class as well. When you come in, you're going to greet me at the door. You're going to come and put your stuff at your desk in your seat sack. All of the chairs in my classroom have seat sacks on them. This is where your materials will go. We do not put our materials in the desks in this classroom. The materials in the desks will be shared materials such as textbooks or markers of some sort or your workbooks. So our actual belongings, like our agendas and our pencils and things like that, do not remain in the desks. So once you put your materials at your desk, then you'll go to your locker. We have assigned lockers in the hallway, and everyone will go to their own locker. Then you'll come back in and you'll get your breakfast items. So for those of you who are new to our school, we do breakfast in the classrooms every day, and you're going to get the 4 components of breakfast. It's some kind of entree, some kind of fruit, a juice, and a milk. You'll get all 4 whether you want them or not. And then what is not eaten goes in this purple bucket back here. Now, we will have someone in charge of breakfast every morning, and they will check off who has eaten and who has not eaten. All the leftovers that are in this bucket are called shareable. That means if you finish your breakfast and you'd like something extra, you can get something out of the shareable. Also, some of my friends have chosen to take something out of there that they would like to eat for a snack later on. So we'll be doing that as well. Another thing you need to know about breakfast is clean up your stuff. Last year, I had a student who left some milk in one of the seat sacks, and it was over the weekend when we weren't here, and when we came back on Monday, it was nasty. I cannot explain to you how gross it smelled in here. So we make sure we dump everything and clean up everything, especially milk, because milk sours, and it's absolutely awful. Once you've had your breakfast, you'll put that away, and then we will be having a morning meeting after announcements. Announcements start at 7:25. All right, another thing, in this classroom, when it's time to line up, our lineup procedure is for me to ring a little chime, and I have this chime, and what I'll do is I'll go, and when you hear that chime, you will stand up quietly from your seat, you will push your seat in, and then you will line up in 2 lines. Girls will be on the right, boys will be on the left. That is how I always line up. And luckily, as far as right now, we have about an even number of boys and girls, so it won't be a discrepancy in how the lines are. Some other things you need to know. In the hallway, we walk on the 2nd and 4th block. The boys will walk on the 4th, the girls will walk on the 2nd. That's no matter where we go. We also make sure that we keep our voices off. That's not just because we're mean teachers. That's because we have to be respectful of the people around us. And we want to make sure that we're doing things to be respectful. In relationship to that, you may recall, if you went here before, that we have 3 key words that kind of drive who we are as a school. And that's be respectful, be responsible, and be ready. So those are the things that we're asking of you, no matter where you are in the school. That's why we walk at a level 0. That's why we're not slapping our friends on the back of the head while we're in line. That's why we are not lollygagging as we're headed to somewhere else. That's why we're not putting our hands all over the walls. So, a couple other things. In the cafeteria, we have a specific place that we'll be sitting, and you will unfortunately have assigned seats. More than likely, you'll sit alphabetically. That could change, but you will have a designated place to sit, and I will keep that seating assignment on the back of our clipboard. We have a clipboard that follows our class no matter where we go, whether we're going to related arts, whether we're going outside to to recess. This is it. It's purple, my very favorite color. So that there will be a person in charge of that. We will have classroom jobs in this classroom. A couple of other things that you need to know about cafeteria is there's expectations, and we're going to review those at some point. We have a meeting in the cafeteria where we'll talk about the expectations and what you're supposed to do when you're in the cafeteria. Again, it's about being respectful, responsible, and ready. A couple other things. Recess. Oh, I love recess. It's usually everybody's favorite part of the day. So, we will either have recess on the playground, or we like to have recess sometimes out back next to the gym where the car riders get picked up every day. And that's because it kind of gives us more space to play. We'll have someone in charge of our playground equipment. I have lots of balls and other stuff to play with, jump ropes, because, sometimes it gets boring and you need those types of things. I'll have someone who manages that, who makes sure that we bring all of our materials back in. And once we get out there, we'll walk to the playground. Once we get out there, when you hear me blow my whistle 3 times, that's when you know it's time to line up. So I'm going to give you an example of exactly what that sounds like. So you'll hear me blow the whistle 3 times, and then from that point I'm going to start counting down from 15. You will have 15 seconds to line up. If you do not make it in line in 15 seconds, then you lose 5 minutes of your recess the next day or the next school day. So please know that that is my expectation, that you have 15 seconds. If you see one of your classmates still on the playground, be like, "Hey, yo, Miss Gaither blew the whistle, let's go." I'll also wave my hand so that you guys can see that it's also time to line up. So I know sometimes it's loud on the playground, but you need to be listening for that. Let's see what else about the playground. We'll go over outside rules and talk about the playground and what's expected. I know the big question is, do we get to use the tire swing? The answer is yes, you get to use the tire swing as long as you're careful. The reason other grade levels don't use the tire swing is because there have been a lot of accidents, a lot of broken arms, a lot of people having issues. So that's just not the best option when you're doing a tire swing, and we don't want to have unsafe situations. So as long as you're using it safely and not positioning yourself so you'd easily fly off of it, sure, tire swing's meant to be played on, so we will do that. All right, couple things. So in this classroom, we have a lot of jobs, and that's because it gives you an opportunity to take part in your class. I will show you the job chart over on the side and kind of talk about the jobs that we have. So one of the jobs that we have is chair manager. This person at the end of the day puts the chairs up. Also, if there's any absent students, they'll put their chairs down for them in the morning. We have a messenger. These are people who are going to go outside of the classroom to deliver messages, people I trust. We have line leaders. Now we'll have 2 of those, a boy and a girl, because we have 2 lines. We have the playground equipment, which I've already spoken about. We have our clipboard manager. We have our door manager. That's the person who holds the door no matter where we go. We have our paper manager. Those are people who pass out papers for us when we have papers to pass out, usually on Monday, because that's when our home folders will go home. We have our media manager. Now, these are people who I have to be able to trust. One thing I haven't really gotten to talk to you about yet is the laptops. We have a set of laptops in our classroom that we will be using almost daily, and the expectation is that you take really good care of them. But I will have a few people who are responsible for distributing those laptops, passing them out, picking them up. Those people will also be in charge of turning on the projector and turning off the projector and putting the screen up and down. especially in the evening, because before we leave for school, we have to turn the projector off. There's a bulb that will go out if we do not take care of it, and to replace that bulb is very expensive, and sometimes they don't have the money to replace them. So if we don't take care of the projector, we won't have a projector. No thank you. Hashtag not this teacher. Another thing is our book manager. This person is in charge of putting the books back on the shelf. We have a return book place, and later on I'll be giving you a tour of the room. We'll go on a field trip around the room, and I'll explain every part of the room to you and what the expectations and rules are for those areas. We have supplies managers who pass out and pick up supplies, and then we have pencil managers. Those people are the ones who are in charge of sharpening pencils. I have 3 electric pencil sharpeners, and we have 1 manual pencil sharpener, which is the only one that can be used by everybody else in the classroom. So the pencil managers are the only ones who can use the mechanical pencil sharpeners. So these are our electric pencil sharpeners. Only the pencil managers can use them. Got it? Great. All right, a few more things that we need to discuss. Let me think. Restroom. So we're going to have a restroom practice situation, but we get to go to the restroom twice a day. What we'll do is we will go with Miss Scales' class. So it'll either be I have you guys, and Miss Scales will have one of the other classes. So whatever class you go with. We will go down the hallway. We'll also have bathroom managers, and those people will be in charge of making sure that there are just enough people in the hallway, in the restroom, and that if there's any empty stalls that you will motion to the next person. Our bathroom managers are people who will use nonverbal communication. So if you're not sure what nonverbal communication, that's when you use your body and your face to communicate. So I might do like this without talking, you know that means hi, or I might go, and that's a wink, and that's a form of communication. I might say, and that means I love you without me talking. So nonverbal communication is communicating without actually talking. Kind of like using sign language, but we have a lot of other ways. Like if I do this, you know that that means what. All right, couple of other things that we need to discuss is we'll have a lot of call and responses in this classroom where I might say, hold up, and you'll say, wait a minute, but I'll teach you all of those special things. We're going to talk about the way that you respond in this classroom. We may talk about raising our hands, but the more appropriate way that we will be doing things in here is you'll raise your hand, and then when I call on you, you will stand up to speak. And after you speak, someone else will stand up. So we will stand up and address everyone in the classroom when we are sharing. It's a little uncomfortable at first, but you'll get used to it pretty quickly. Snack time. We eat lunch super early at 10:40. Oh my God, I'm gonna be like breakfast, then lunch. So we have like 3 hours before we eat lunch after breakfast. That means by the afternoon, by about 1 o'clock, we're gonna be hungry. So I wanna encourage you to bring a healthy snack, healthy fruit, pretzels, some kind of crackers, some kind of granola bar or something like that. I don't allow food that leaves residue. What I mean by that is like Cheetos. When you eat Cheetos, then your fingers are all like orange afterwards. We can't have those in the classroom because we're using laptops all the time, and that stuff can get on the laptops very easily and destroy the laptops. If these laptops break, they are not going to replace them. So let's take care of them. That way we don't have to worry about replacing them. I have a bunch of rolling chairs in my classroom. There's 5 at the kidney table, and then a few more extras over here, and even one over there by the door. Yes, because why would you not want to sit in a rolling chair? Those are not allowed to be used by students unless you have permission. Do not use the rolling chairs without getting adult permission first. I was on maternity leave, and I came back to school this year, and in one of my rolling chairs there was a big giant wet spot. Yuck. That's because on field day last year when somebody was soaking wet, they sat in one of my rolling chairs, and now it looks like somebody tinkled in the rolling chair. So that's why you have to have permission to sit in the rolling chairs. Thanks. Another job that we'll have is our lanyard person, and in the morning you'll get your lanyards. They will hang up right here on the wall underneath your respective houses. And in the afternoon, as you're going to your lockers, you'll put your lanyards back up. You'll hand them to the lanyard afternoon manager. Let me see, a few other things. So there are 3 things that you really need to know about me. One thing is, I like everything to be neat. I cannot stand, I loathe untidiness. Everything has a place in room 502, everything. And everything needs to be in its place. It is up to me and you to take care of this and make sure it stays neat. If you didn't know, we have the smallest classroom in the entire school. Yes, our classroom is smaller than the kindergartners' classrooms. Our classroom is smaller than all of the other classrooms in the entire school. That means that we have to work extra hard to make sure it stays clean so that we aren't tripping over things and so that it doesn't feel so small. So, if you see trash, pick it up. Chairs need to be pushed in. Items need to be put back where they belong. Everything has a place. So one thing you need to know about me, I am super duper tidy. Second thing you need to know about me, boy, do I love fancy. I like glitter. I like sequins. I like flowers and being extra. I am just one of those teachers. So the fancier the better, even when it comes to your schoolwork. I love cursive handwriting because it is fancy. I love big giant vocabulary words because they're fancy. I love makeup on my face and big earrings and blingy shirts because it's fancy. So, 2 things you need to know about me. I like it tidy, I like it fancy, and the last thing that you really need to know about me is I like it to be a positive environment. Nobody likes to come into a place where they do not feel safe. One of my #1 goals for you guys this year is to give you a classroom where you always feel safe. And it is vital that you do what you have to do to make sure that you're safe by being kind and loving to others. We want to make sure that we're using safe words and that we're not being critical of our classmates and that we're being open-minded. And if somebody says something, we're not critiquing them or laughing at them. This is a safe zone where I want you to be who you are. Because you know what? You are exactly who you're supposed to be. And in this classroom, be you. I don't want you to be anybody but you. That is a very important thing to me. And I want to make sure we're doing that. So, I think I've talked enough for now, and you've had plenty of questions to answer throughout this. I just really hope that you guys have a great year, and that you leave here this year and you say, oh my God, I love reading, I love writing, I love Miss Gaither. I just love everything because that's who I am. I love school. I've always wanted to be a teacher. I love you, and I'm glad you're in my class because you're exactly where you should be. And this year's gonna be amazing. #best teacher ever. I love you. Bye.